All right, we're going to step out of the browser for a little bit and we're going to download something called Node.js. So if you navigate or search for Node.js, you'll get to nodejs.org and it defaulted to the English version for me because that's the computer I'm on. This works for both Mac or Windows, whichever machine you're on. It should bring you to your computer. You're going to download the most current version. At the time of this video, it's 12.18.1. I would do the recommended version instead of the one with the latest features. And then once you've downloaded that, you should be able to install it. And it was my intention to install it on this video screen, but it went to my other screen, so I'm stalling for a moment. All right, I had to find it, so now I found it. So it says, please wait while the setup wizard continues. I'll just walk through this with you to make sure that there's not any will install Node.js on your computer. That sounds like a great plan, so I'm going to click on next. I accept. You can take my first child or whatever. I'll just take the default. I'm going to again take the default, and then I'm just going to continue on and click on install. And then yes, of course I want you to do a thing. So I'm going to put this on pause. So when it's finished installing, I will be back. All right, so it says Node.js has been successfully installed. It took a little bit of time, so if yours did, that's awesome. Okay, and then I'm going to click on finish. The next thing I'm going to do is nothing happened, right? So nothing cool. I don't have a cool open anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down into, I guess it's off screen at the moment, but I'm going to come down into my search tool in Windows and I'm going to type in CMD for my command prompt, which also seems to be a little off screen, but it looks like this. And if I click on the command prompt, then I'm going to get a window that looks something like this. It's going to default to my default directory. I don't really care about that. But what I want to verify is that it did install. And the way I can do that is I'm going to type in the word node, N-O-D-E, -V for if it's installed, what version do I have? And what should come up is a version number. So if it doesn't come up, then we've got some troubleshooting, and I'll try and put some notes in our course to try and help us through that. But ideally, everything went smoothly. You've got the version, and we are going to see what to do from there. All right, so what's the point? I don't know. So I'm going to pull up a screen. I'm going to pull up Visual Studio Code because that's what we've been using. And I'm going to choose a new file, and I'm just going to create an index.js file. So I'm just creating a JavaScript file. And I'm going to type in something like console.log. And hello world. We've done console.log, and what console.log did was give us the ability to print in our dev tools some kind of information. So if I save this, now what I'm going to do, and this is why we're using Visual Studio Code in this class, is Visual Studio Code has something in view called, where am I going? Terminal, where am I? There it is. Terminal. So, or the shortcut key, control and backtick. So terminal, and terminal is going to bring up, just like we had in the command prompt a moment ago, a terminal that has our, that we can run Node from. In other words, I'm just kind of hemming and hawing because I'll tell you why in a minute. So if I do node-v, just like we did momentarily, we get that there is in fact a version. Now, what's supposed to happen and didn't happen, but I guess this is good for troubleshooting, is I'm currently in my desktop, and I know that because I opened it. So I guess I thought I put it in my desktop, but I did not. All right, so I caught myself there in a, oh, I didn't know that happened, but I don't want to redo the video. So what happened was I thought I was on my desktop, but I'm not. I'm actually on my desktop in a folder called JS Coffee Bean, in a folder called submissions, in Corey's submission, in a folder called install Node.js. So what I'm trying to get at in a very long-winded speech that sounded super confused is that when you choose view terminal, the terminal should open in the directory in which this file is saved. I thought it hadn't, but it did. So, okay, so I thought I made a mistake, and you know, surprise, surprise, I did not. Just kidding. Anyway, so the point is that the terminal will open up in the folder in which this file resides. And I can use a terminal command, dir, If you are in a Mac, then you do ls, and that will tell me what is currently in the folder that I'm in. And in this directory path, I'm in index.js. There's a file there called index.js. Perfect. So what the point is by using or installing Node, I can now type in the word Node and the name of the file. In this case, which was index, I do not have to put the JS because Node's assuming that I'm running a JavaScript file. And if I hit enter, I'm getting all of the JavaScript that I wrote in here. So recognize that this is a way for us to run pure JavaScript. In other words, I can't do anything like document get element by ID now because I'm not using, let's just do dog, I don't know, it doesn't matter. But now if I run Node and index, I'm getting an error because Node has no idea. I'm taking ourselves by using Node, I'm giving us the ability to get outside of the browser and just write pure JavaScript so that we can learn some concepts without having to keep pulling up a browser in order to make it happen. So one other thing, well, let's just stop there. And if you have any trouble getting Node installed or this isn't working, please let me know and we'll walk through it. But the idea here then is I can just write normal JavaScript var a name equals Kirsten, and then I could do a console.log, and then I can put a name. And if I type in Node and index, or I can just use my arrow up key to toggle through whatever I typed in last. I've only had 2 commands, so if there's 3. So I'm going to arrow up and arrow down. I find the one I'm interested in, and I can just hit enter. It'll run it again. So you can see that I'm just running pure JavaScript. So we're going to use this in to talk about objects to make it a little bit less confusing and not have to tackle with the DOM.